Good day, all. So I know I've been away for the last week or so, but I'm back, and probably a review that some of you at least have been waiting for. Doctor Who Series 7 Part 2, and Doctor Who, the 2012 Christmas special, The Snowmen. So these are just the straight-up vanilla releases with very minimal special features. The one thing that's cool is they both came with slip covers, which I took off because it's a pain in the ass to do that with one hand. So to start off, we'll begin with Doctor Who The Snowmen. This one, I've actually watched this one a few times. I haven't actually watched the Blu-ray yet, and I might actually save this one till Christmas. I think, I've already watched this, I think, 3 times since it aired. So this is kind of the beginning of sort of the next story arc in Doctor Who. Takes place, you get the idea, quite a bit of time has elapsed since the first part of Series 7, which I guess, is a little odd that, it kind of switches eras right in the middle of a season. But I don't know, it kind of works. So the Snowmen, evil snowman right there, introduces the Great Intelligence, which is the major foe throughout the series. Has a few bonus features. Obviously, they don't do Doctor Who Confidential anymore, so those are no longer included on these individual releases like it was for some of the earlier Christmas specials, where you'd actually get the entire 45-50 minute Doctor Who. So I actually liked Doctor Who Confidential, except for the music. I just found a little bit cheesy, which kind of took away from it, but I appreciated the background on the stories and the making of and whatnot. But here, so we have Clara's White Christmas, Astra Investigates, and Children in Need, The Great Detective. So it's just a short kind of special for Children in Need that kind of introduced the story. They also redid excuse me, the titles for this and the background theme, and I actually liked the mix better in the Snowmen than the mix that later appeared with the rest of Series 7, where in the mix it had been, well, I guess kind of watered down a little bit, but that's just a small complaint. I didn't mind it that much. Okay, and now we're on to Series 7 Part 2. Now, some Doctor Who fans have actually been kind of torn on this series, mainly because thematically or in tone it's a little bit different from some of the other seasons, or actually all the other seasons since the show came back. But what I like it for is it's actually kind of a throwback to the 1970s Doctor Who era stories, or at least a few episodes in here are. So that I appreciate. I guess it's, kind of the divide is probably between people like me that grew up with, the first run of the series. My doctors were Tom Baker and Peter Davison back when I was a kid, versus people who have been brought up with the new series, between, Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, and Matt Smith. Where there's the stories they're faster paced, especially with the David Tennant years. There was a lot of sort of an emotional element to it, which, to be honest, I was never that fond of, and I think it's actually been a lot better since they toned that down. So we'll take a look at the set itself, and this one mainly just has the prequels and whatnot as its special features. So in terms of the episodes, well, it's kind of a mixed bag. Well, actually, there's really only one in this that I didn't like, and since the show's come back, there's only been 3 episodes that I didn't care much for. Fear Her, that one with the pirate from last year, and this one, and can never remember how to pronounce the second one, The Rings of Akaton, I think is how it's pronounced, or Doctor Who the Musical. Kind of suffers once again from, just child actors. In my opinion, they just, nothing against kids, but I just don't care for child actors in Doctor Who. I think I don't know, it kind of dumbs down the program a little bit, and sort of the musical element, and the story was just kind of, well, blah. But back to the season, or sort of the season premiere, the second half of the season, The Bells of St. John, also known as The Internet Goes Evil. That one was actually kind of cool for an introduction, and sort of continued the story arc with the Great Intelligence going through the season, or reintroduced us to it. Cold War, which also features David Warner, has a very old school Doctor Who feel kind of to it. The same thing with Hyde. That one actually I found, that story would probably fit right in Tom Baker's era. Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, which was interesting. That one was kind of cool. You learn, I guess, a little bit more about the TARDIS and whatnot. The Crimson Horror, it was probably not the strongest story of the season, but, it was still, continues the sort of story arc that began with season 6 and carried through to the Snowmen and whatnot. Nightmare in Silver, which a lot of people, especially on the forums, hated that one. I actually thought it was kind of cool watching the Doctor argue with the sort of Cybermen version of himself. And then, of course, The Name of the Doctor, which is the series finale, which I think is probably one of the best individual episodes in the show's history. It really ties sort of all the Doctor's whole past together, and I think the cliffhanger is probably one of the best, if not the best, in the show's history. Essentially, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but we think we learn that there was an incarnation of the Doctor who was kind of sort of cast aside. There's been a lot of speculation as to what it is. If this was, the version of the Doctor between Doctors number 8 and 9 that, is actually responsible for the outcome of the Time War and whatnot. And we'll be finding that out in the fall when we get to the November special before the Christmas special, which brings back David Tennant and Billy Piper to Doctor Who, which I'm, looking forward to seeing that, and, it'd be cool to see David Tennant take over the role. It's too bad that Christopher Eccleston didn't want to participate, but I guess you can kind of see where they may have been going with this originally, where, the outcast Doctor, I guess, or however you want to play that, may have originally been portrayed as Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, who, may have been the one who, we had always thought he was probably the one involved in the Time War, but whatnot. I'm just speculating. I haven't seen it yet. So anyways, that is everything for today. So as always, everyone, thank you for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful day.